Hello and welcome back to Caroline's channel. And I'm here today with Scott Reeves. So I've been very excited to introduce you all to Scott because he writes vegan children's books. And he is in my Taichung, yes, there it is. He's in my Taichung expat community. So without further ado, I'm going to read out his bio, which is on my screen over here. Scott Reeve is a children's book author, English teacher, and storyteller from Canada. After 5 years of trial and error, he self-published his first book in 2013, entitled Thank God for Inventing Mothers.
That one right
He
there.
That's that one. He has written 4 more picture books that introduce kids to environmental protection, kindness to animals, and healthy living. His vegan storybooks have touched the hearts of many worldwide with their vibrant illustrations, wonderful rhymes, and positivity, planting seeds of love and wisdom in a fun and creative way. Wow. Well, welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on, Coach Caroline.
Well, you're very welcome. I've had fun giving your books out to my students in the past.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. You're my number one fan.
I'm definitely a fan, that's for sure. So, Scott, can you tell me about how long you've been going with your authorship journey and how you got started?
Well, that's a big question. It's been a long time. My first inspiration for any type of children's book writing was 2008, and which is over 15 years ago. And the moment happened on an airplane going from LA to Taipei. So my first inspiration came at 35,000 feet over the Pacific Ocean. So it must be good.
Yeah.
Must have been a good one. So yeah, from there, it's been a long journey of lots of trial and error, as they say. So, but it's been well worth it. It's been well worth it. And actually, I still feel like I'm just still in the starting phases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
can I just stop you? Can I just stop you there? Can you tell me a bit more about this moment at 35,000 feet? Can you tell me like what happened?
I woke up. The plane took off, and then I fell asleep. And then, I don't know, maybe an hour later, just kind of woke up. And then the inspiration was just in my head. And I had a little notebook, and I had never written before, let alone dreamed of writing children's books or any books. I liked children's books. I was an ESL teacher. I taught English to little kids. So I got that going for me. But I just woke up, and then this kind of story just came to my mind, and I had a little notepad, and I just wrote my first book on a little notepad with a little like stickman sketches.
Yeah.
And little one sentence for each page. And then I wrote that first story.
Yeah.
35,000 feet, and felt pretty good about it. It felt good.
Wow. So are you talking about the first children's book, or are you talking about Thank God for Inventing Mothers?
Yeah, good question. That would be my first children's book, which turned out to be The Kind Garden.
Okay.
So that first page I ever sketched was a little girl, I remember, on a skateboard, and she was going to go on a journey into learning about nature, plants, animals, and ultimately plant-based lifestyle. So that became this book, and that's the little girl.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the initial starting point, was that moment. Yeah. So it just happened, inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had you ordered a vegan meal on that airplane? Were you a vegan, and how long have you been a vegan?
No one ever asked me that question. Yeah, in fact, that is a great question because I was vegetarian
Yeah.
before for about 10 years
Okay.
leading up to there. And
Yeah.
just that year, actually, I was at a vegan conference in Los Angeles
Oh.
with lots of like vegan VIP speakers. So I
Mm-hmm.
was filled with energy, like, of vegan concepts and, doing more for the movement and stuff like that.
Mm.
And to be honest, if you want to go a little bit of detail, just
Mm-hmm.
before I went on the airplane, there was a big children's kind of bookstore at the airport.
Yeah.
So I was reading all these children's books before going onto the airplane.
Right.
So I thought maybe all this stuff combined just.
Yes.
Oh, and okay, I got to add one more thing.
Yes.
That same day,
Yeah.
my friends who dropped me off at the airport, they
Yeah.
drove me around the beach. And there's in LA, the beaches they have carnivals and rides and all that stuff. And one of my friends who's an amateur champion, a golfer. And so there's a golf game, and it's really hard to win these games, right? She
Yeah.
goes, I'm going to win. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to win you a prize, a going away prize, Scott. I said, okay. So she putted the ball. She missed. She had two opportunities to make a long putt. She made the putt.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, here's your prize. And she picked out a snake it was kind of colorful. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that turned out to be the inspiration for my rainbow snake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So all these elements came together on my last day, and then I just fell asleep, woke up, and it's like making a recipe.
Wow.
So that's how my authorship, my journey began that specific day. Yeah. So.
And can you tell me a bit more about your vegetarian vegan journey? Have you always been plant-based, or did you eat meat when you were a kid? Like, can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yes, I definitely ate a normal, they say SAD diet, standard American diet, until I was about 25 years old. So at the age of 25, I quit drinking. I was into mild drugs, I have to admit, and kind of a partier type of lifestyle I was leading. Not really much direction. But then, luckily, I met, some different people. I moved to Vancouver, Canada. And Vancouver is totally multicultural.
Right.
Lots of different people from all over the world with different concepts, different philosophies. And I started meeting and talking with different people. And vegetarian was one of the things that was new to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it just sounded really good. It was challenging at first to think, oh, I'm not eating animals. I'm eating hamburgers.
Yeah.
Or I'm eating deviled eggs. That's not chicken. All these. So then the person would say, oh, think about that. Think about it for a few days or a few weeks. And then ultimately, over the course of about 1 or 2 years of being introduced to it, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to become vegetarian. I quit drinking alcohol and quit the drugs. So,
right.
2-year period, I totally did a 180 as far as lifestyle habits.
Yeah.
And I always say, like 1997, I became vegetarian. So it's been over 25 years. Yeah.
So it just sounds like when you got introduced to the idea of vegetarianism and veganism, that it aligned with a value that you hadn't really paid attention to before.
Right. Yes. That
right.
Being introduced to those concepts made me find the value inside myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that aligns with, I want to be compassionate. I want to show love to all beings. And
Compassion.
yeah, so I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
it makes perfect sense. And then the more you get into it, then many people say this, and then they learn about the environmental benefits, the health
Yes.
benefits, and there's literally
Yes.
100 benefits to being vegetarian or vegan. So
Yes.
yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there, and I just became more stronger, and then I became vegan 10 years later. So
Right.
yeah.
And are you still vegan now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'll be
Yeah.
vegan for life. I should get the
Yeah.
tattoo, vegan for
Yeah.
life, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So then vegan plus my background in teaching children,
Yes.
which I've done now for 20 years, comes together in writing books.
Yes.
Oh, it's upside down. There's another one, Glowy's
Yes.
Galactic Adventure. This is my latest book, my fourth book.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, my values and I guess my skills come together, and the best form now is through children's storybooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So your mission, can you outline to us what your mission through teaching, education, these vegan storybooks, can you outline it for us?
I'm not quite sure. It was a big question. The mission question is pretty big. So,
Mm,
but I do have a vision.
mm,
That would be ultimately to keep producing children's books. Like
mm-hmm,
I feel like I said, I have four. People say, "Wow, you have so," but I feel like this is scratching the surface. I
mm-hmm.
would like to be able to publish 10, 20, 30 children's books,
Yeah,
specifically with environmentalism, uh, and teaching kids healthy living concepts, which includes
yeah,
veganism as well, all
yeah,
centered around love. Like self-love is the main point
yeah,
that I want to, awaken in kids' hearts, right? Love yourself, and
right,
you'll love all animals and the trees and the planet and people,
right.
of course. So that would be
Yeah,
number one. So I want to spread those seeds like throughout the world.
yeah.
I think the English-speaking countries first, because my books are in English, which
Mm-hmm.
is Canada, America, Europe. But nowadays, English is a global language, so I would like to be able to promote my books, on a global scale for
Yeah,
sure, and then even get them uh, translated. Where's my translation? Oh, get them translated into different languages as
mm,
well. So if you just
yeah.
excuse me, my book just fell on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Um, I have one translated into Chinese,
Right, yeah.
and because I live in Taiwan, I've been teaching in Taiwan as well. So, but this inspired me to maybe have Spanish or any other language, and move forward again more on a global scale. So
Mm-hmm.
my books, I'm an English teacher, so actually I can incorporate bilingualism and learning a second language
Mm,
in my journey as well. So
yeah.
lots of good things I can try to provide for kids and families around the world, I hope.
World domination.
Welcome to Teaching Sky's galaxy. Yeah, forget the world. I'm going galactic.
Awesome. Awesome. We love big dreamers. We love big dreamers.
Pretty big. Yeah.
So, you've been self publishing your books all along, and I would like to know what challenges have you faced with publishing your books?
That's the question right there. Is
Hmm.
how I feel like these books are really great. I spent lots of time writing them, hours
Hmm.
and hours, and even like years. Oh, by the way, from the point I got that inspiration on the airplane
Yeah.
until I published and printed The Kind Garden, that
Yeah.
was 7 years to print this little book.
10 years?
7 years.
Oh, 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. 7 years.
From
Yeah.
the airplane inspiration to actually having my first copy in my hand was
Yes.
7 years just for a little 24-page children's book. So
Wow.
the first thing I can say for any authors out there is patience and persistence.
Patience and persistence.
Absolutely. If you don't have patience or persistence, then being an author is real difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I should, in my experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because especially when you have illustrations, if you can't illustrate yourself,
Yeah.
then you need to work with other people.
Right.
And so I had challenges finding illustrators, A, and B, then working with them.
Yeah.
Anytime it didn't work out.
Right.
So we were 6 months into the project, the book was half done, and then something happens and the illustrator just has to stop.
Oh.
All that time is gone, and then I had to start again.
Right, because you can't use the work that they've already done. You have to start with a new style.
That's right. Start that process. You got to find one you like, you get along with, and the price is right because you're paying them. And then they have to do the same style. You have to get along. So, yeah, I learned along the way when you're working with an illustrator, you have to really talk about as much as you can. It's a relationship, what to expect going forward. Because at the beginning, I was a little bit too controlling. I'd say, oh, can you change this? Can you make this a different color? And finally, I really handed to the illustrator at that time. She said, can you just like relax? I can't breathe here. You got to let me have, creative freedom.
Yeah.
Artistic freedom. So I learned firsthand, oh, that's what that means. I get it. Okay. So then that was a great learning experience as far as working with illustrator and children's books. So from then on, I just, of course, if it's important, what I think is important to give some feedback, then I will, or suggestions. And if not, then I just let them drop. So, and since then it's been great as far as working with the illustrator. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, back to the question, patience and persistence is definitely key. Definitely key.
And who else have you had to work with as part of like a book team to publish and produce a book?
Okay, let's see here. It starts with the original idea. So that's the author writing things out. Then you need some proofreaders at some point.
Proofreaders.
As you get along with, as your script or your story moves along, you need people to read it and check it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, once you finalize that, you need like a final editor or a final proofreader. Okay, the story's done. Now you got to find an illustrator. That might be that's a process. And then that's finished. Then you got to put that together. You need if the illustrator may or may not be able to add the text.
Right.
So usually they can, but sometimes they can't. So then you need a formatter. You got to find one of those.
A formatter.
And they put the book together. Illustrations, text, and whatever else. So then you have the final PDF.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it? Are you going to upload to Amazon for print on demand? Or are you going to find a printer?
Right.
By yourself, and your book's good to go. You're going to print that by yourself.
Yeah.
And then you got to find a printing company, and you got to talk about cost, how many, and so it's quite the process.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning. That's the easy part, right?
Oh, right.
Because say you find a printer, you get 1,000 books, and you're proud and you're happy you got them in your home or on storage.
Yeah.
Now the hard part, and every author knows the marketing is the hard part.
The marketing. Yeah.
So then you either can do it by yourself if you're Superman or Superwoman, or you got to find, like you're saying, assistants or helpers to help a marketing team.
Yeah.
Or at least one person to help you.
Right.
You got to figure out who are you marketing to, where are you going to market, and then there's actually tons of steps. And then if you're successful at that, then you have to mail out all these books. You have to get addresses, go to the post office if you're doing it by yourself, which I did.
Yeah.
And then mail them out physically. That's another thing. So, and then after that, there's post marketing. So if you send like I donate some to some animal sanctuaries, for example.
Yeah.
So I'll just people, they might learn about your books through. So one of my books is on PETA. So
Mhm.
some animal sanctuaries would, oh, I like this book, and then they contact me, Scott, we're doing a fundraising. Can you send us 10 or 20 books? I'm like,
Yeah.
sure. So then I do all that, and you also have to, you're going to sign the book and put a little note to each kid. Then you got to send that. So then afterwards, you want to have a little bit of self promotion. So then you have to
Mhm.
ask, can you please send pictures of, some children holding the book, or a
Right.
group picture with my books? I would really appreciate that. And then, I mean, just ask once and you let it go. Sometimes you got feedback, sometimes you don't.
Right.
So then then there's post marketing. Then you got to put those pictures on FB or IG or whatever, and you have to write something. And
Right.
I'm sweating just talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
life. That's the life of. There's probably easier ways to do it,
Yeah.
but that's how I've done it in the past. So
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
why it's important, very important, to probably have a book coach like yourself
Yeah.
to help you maybe minimize or become more efficient or do things better. Because
Yes.
I realized, yeah, like that's why we're connected. I've done as much as I can by myself, and it
Yeah.
just like pushing a stone up a mountain. You just need an expert or a coach to help you get to the
Yeah.
next level. So
Yeah.
that's why I've been very grateful to meet you and be introduced to your program and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Thank you. And where do you find all these people, like the proofreaders and the printer and the editor and where do you find all these people?
That's a good question. Um, I don't know, my Chinese symbol, my Chinese animal. If you follow this Chinese zodiac, there's 12 animals. Mine is a rat.
Yeah. Oh,
So I can find these people. That's what I'm good
okay. Okay.
at.
That
But
makes sense. I can see that. I can totally
interest,
see.
interestingly enough, all my illustrators are my personal friends.
Oh, okay.
So call it destiny, or there's a fate thing involved as well. This
Mhm.
book was written by a teenage girl, actually Claire,
Yeah.
but I didn't know her. She was 18 when she illustrated this book, but I knew her mother in Canada,
Right. Right.
and she was, I think, my fourth illustrator that I um, tried, and the first three were unsuccessful, as I mentioned before. So
Yeah.
she came along, this teenage girl who was self-taught, she's a self-taught illustrator, and she's
Yeah.
the one who did it. She's the one
Yeah.
who did this. So that was a friend of mine's child. The
That's
other
amazing.
illustrators, Chloe is a Taiwanese friend. She's a vegan friend. She happened to be a graphic illustrator.
Yeah.
She went to school at university for drawing, so she did this. And two other friends wrote other books. I mean,
Yeah.
illustrated other books.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky in the illustration department. I have friends who are actually illustrators. But
Right.
otherwise, the proofreaders, who else? Marketers and whatnot. I usually use Upwork, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Upwork. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
been. I've had a lot of and translators into
Mm.
Chinese and different in Philippines as well. And the formatter is from Upwork.
Mm. Mm.
I like Fiverr as well, but
Yeah.
I find Upwork is just better for me.
Right. Right.
I don't know if there's any other freelancer or websites out there. I'm sure there is, but I just use Upwork for now.
Yeah. And now AI is changing all of that, making it easier and faster and more accessible. Like ChatGPT is a proofreader, an editor, a formatter. Yeah, it makes it really easy and fast these days. That's just come along in the past few months.
That I think that's where my next step. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
because it's like you said, it's brand new. This happened this year.
Yeah.
So the faster you can get into that, then the more ahead you'll be in the future for whatever kind of genre you're writing about.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
AI in
even,
any field is going to be, where it's at, obviously.
yeah. And even for making your illustrations.
Well, I have tried. There's already. I saw one advertisement for a person who's advertising his product. It's a bookmaker using all AI.
Yeah.
Write it and illustrate it and do it. And I saw it and I'm like, but that's not ready
Right.
yet. The
Yeah.
quality is pretty low.
Right. Right.
So, but I mean, in a couple of years, of course, the quality will be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's here now. AI for sure.
It's going. That's where it's going. So things are getting easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been thinking about it, but still, I mean, you still have your own, your own taste and your own personality.
Sure.
So you really need to, put lots of your heart and soul into whatever you're making with the assistance of AI, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
heavily edit, right? Heavily edit.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask you, what benefits have you felt to yourself personally and professionally since producing your books?
What benefits? That's a good question as well. Probably it's given me an opportunity to express myself. The deep creativeness that I have. It's given me the ability to express that, and to meet many, like all my illustrators, and I'm a people person. I love meeting people, and working with people is something I find a lot of joy in.
Yeah.
And I won't say lastly, but a third point is being able to work with children. That's a big benefit that I receive. Seeing a child who I'd never met before, having my book and their mom maybe sending me the picture and they're happy. That's like, that touches my heart. So that just makes everything, all that hard work we talked about, even for years and all the patience, that all pays off by one photo of one little girl holding the book.
Yeah.
So, and you don't know. My books are very simplistic. It's not like, it's an I don't write academic books or nutrition guides. They're all just easy storybooks, rhyming, 1 or 2 line storybooks. But you never know. One of those sentences or one of those illustrations could touch someone's heart, a little girl, little boy, or a parent, I guess, and could change their life and could make them, could plant the seed, and then maybe they can go on and do something, really beneficial for the world. So there's tons of benefits for me. I could go on, and lots of benefits you don't even know about.
Right.
Because my end goal is to basically create a better world, have a better planet.
Yeah.
I don't want to say save the earth, but that's maybe a phrase: save the earth, save the planet. So I just want to contribute to that in the way that I can, using my little talent.
Yeah.
Or my inspiration that I got on the airplane, 35,000.
Yeah. It's given you a sense of purpose, right? Meaning and purpose.
Absolutely. I was gonna say that at the beginning. Actually, the teaching, my English teaching is kind of my job, I feel. But my higher kind of purpose is definitely about books.
Yeah.
Definitely books. It brings me the most joy. And again, and seeing the joy that kids can have as well. I love storytelling too. So when I have a chance to tell my book in front of 10 or 15, 20 kids, that might be the greatest joy I have is telling your own story to children. That's the best part. And they can ask questions and you have a beautiful interaction. So that's maybe the greatest joy I have so far is is telling my story to kids, like in
Yeah.
a live setting. So
Well, my own children have experienced that from you.
right, yeah, I love that, and they ask so good questions. They ask great questions as well. So that's really rewarding when kids can understand understand your book. They're processing it, and they're like, well, what about this, or why did that happen?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Then it's like
So
teaching. That's life. Kids are growing right in front of you.
you like this, your books are stimulating them to think and become more aware, question their world.
That's ideal. That's
Mm,
perfect.
mm,
Actually, the vegan thing, it's the most important thing, but not for me to tell them to be vegan.
mm,
I try to write the books as open as possible and let kids think about, okay, what is vegan to me?
mm,
Or what does that mean?
mm.
So I really want kids, like you said, to question that concept about love and self-love and love for animals, love for the planet, and all those good things. So
Yeah.
yeah, you said it perfectly. Let kids inspire kids to question about
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
I think that's a teacher, and there I'm not a parent, but there I say a parent's role is raise our kids, give them the information,
Mm,
let them decide ultimately what they want to
mm.
do. So yeah.
Yeah. And have you thought about becoming a best-selling author?
It's probably I've I've thought about it. I've thought about becoming the world's #1 vegan children's book author,
Right.
which I don't know if there is such a claim to be made, if it's even possible. But
Well, there is now.
I just spoke it into existence.
You did.
If not, then one of the leading vegan children's book authors.
Yeah.
But as far as #1 bestseller, that's where I never thought about that really until meeting you, and you gave me the idea, and it sounds great. So
Yeah.
that's actually my goal first, is to become a #1 bestseller first.
Yeah.
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 Looking forward.
Well, let's do it.
That's why we're here, baby.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll get you in that program.
Can't wait. Really can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, what advice would you give to other aspiring authors out there?
I'm not really sure I'm in a place to give advice, but since I've written and illustrated, or at least had the illustrations completed and printed 5 books, I can say the advice is to, like I already said, be persistent in finishing your book.
Yeah.
You want to write a book, that's a beautiful thing.
Mm.
You need to be persistent. You need to be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And just don't give up. Like, keep going and just finish your book, and you'll just feel so good. And I can give advice. So many people, I think, they settle on one book. Like, oh, I wrote a book. It's like they climbed a mountain, which we do when we finish our first book.
Yeah.
But if you finish one book, I mean, that shouldn't be like, oh, good, that's finished, I don't have to do that anymore. Then why not continue?
Yeah.
Because we put so much effort and work into doing one book, then all that is done. So we should continue and write another book about something that can help others,
Yeah.
and then maybe snowball 2, 3, 4 books. So yeah, I see, like, again, back to my genre of vegan children's books, an author will do one children's book. I'm like, that's really good. Wow, she's really good. But then that's it. I don't see any other books coming from that author. And I'm like, that's a shame, because that first book was great. So I wish they would do more. So maybe I can help inspire, other authors to write more
Yeah.
and get more published.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can say don't quit, keep going and do more. Once you're finished that first step, don't think that's the end of the journey. Maybe that's just the beginning of your journey, and keep going and do more. And then that can just lead to so many other things.
Yeah.
That's the what if question.
Yes, that is. That
what
is.
if I can write a second book? What if I can write 5 books?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. In
Awesome.
fact, one of my past becoming, a number one author for myself, actually, that's not even really my ultimate goal. One of my ultimate goals is to help kids. Like, here's a blank canvas. I want kids ultimately help them illustrate their own book and write their own books by themselves. Maybe they don't even have to buy books. They can make them by themselves.
Right.
That's a wonderful dream that I have. I hope to, see one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have like kid authors and kid illustrators. So it's
right.
Pretty cool.
Amazing. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do that too. So many things to do.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Okay. So thank you very much for being here with me, Scott. It's been wonderful to meet you and to get to know more about you and your books and your process and what you've been through and where you got started. Can you please tell us where to find you on social media, or where can we find you?
Probably the best place to find me is www.thekindgarden.com.
Right, your website, www.thekindgarden.com. And I can put that link into the captions of this video so that anybody who wants to find you and your beautiful books and any future books, get on your landing page, get on your waiting list for your future books. They can go to that website.
Right. That's where it's all happening now, and I'll be branching out in the future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Coach Carolyn. You asked some really good questions. Made me think a bit more deeper about, where I'm going and what I want to do. So I appreciate that as well.
Awesome.
And hi to your audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
All happening.
It's all happening. Awesome. This is Coach Caroline, and don't forget that within your wisdom